Washington had a hard time trying to figure out the deficit problem, but they're getting awfully creative when it comes to the debt ceiling. There's talk of trillion-dollar coins, constitutional amendment type of stuff. Ren, you've looked at all the wacky scenarios.
Yeah,
Which one are you liking?
The bottom line is there is no good choice. I mean, a trillion-dollar coin, you know, the idea is you just mint a coin, and that puts the government below the ceiling, and you can borrow more. Now, I mean, clearly the legislation that was created that possibility was talking about a commemorative coin. But that aside, you know, it's just a silly solution. I mean, the fact is...
Well, it's a silly problem, so it probably deserves a silly
problem,
solution.
but it's a problem because Congress has control over spending, borrowing, and taxes. The president can't do any of that without Congress's authorization. So unless Congress ups the ceiling, you know, basically default is the only option.
And the issue here is that to borrow more is to pay for things Congress has already...
Well, they passed the budget.
It's not for future stuff. It's stuff that we've already spent.
It's really paying for old stuff, and yet the deficit hawks are saying, well, I want to see the ceiling come down, or at least I'm not going to put the ceiling up unless I get cost cuts. But that's not really like for like at all.
That's not the president's job. I mean,
right.
And not only is it not his job, it's unconstitutional for him to sort of decide, all right, I'm going to spend on this, or I'm going to spend on that. That's Congress's role. So really, Congress has to make that decision.
Right.
And the least, and I think the expectation is, well, let's not raise a ceiling, and the president will just have to spend less. But that's really a
So if we
serious
wipe out
violation.
this trillion-dollar coin idea as just being too goofball-y, and then there was talk of a 14th Amendment kind of solution, right?
Well,
and
which wasn't a bad idea. And Obama said, you know, no way, I'm not going to do that. Now, you know, if he's not going to do that, then he's really stuck with violating the Constitution in one way or the other. And it seems to me he needs to do it in sort of the least unconstitutional way. In other words, he has to avoid getting into Congress's business as much as he can.
Well, and this is the irony of the hawks, who, for the most part, are not on Obama's side of the aisle. They kind of say, well, we don't want to put the debt ceiling up, and if you really don't want the debt to go up, then Obama would have to start choosing what to spend on and what obligations not to honor. And surely that's exactly the stuff that those same hawks want to have control of in Congress.
So our solution here is then basically
do the
have
least
him
offensive
have him kick it back to Congress, make them...
Well, you know, if you're not going to raise a ceiling, I'm just going to do the least unconstitutional thing, and that's basically to issue more debt. That allows me to not get into your business about making judgments over who to pay and who not to pay. You know, we'll do that. It's illegal. Sue me. But by the time anything gets into court, you know, this thing is probably going to be solved. I mean, it's not going to drag out for years, one would hope.
Right. All right. We will leave it there. There's going to be plenty more on this issue, and we'll be back with more Breaking Views next week.